Behind a quiet gate in Kingston stands a home that doesn't scream luxury, but whispers legacy. No marble driveways, no Hollywood flash. Just calm walls that have heard decades of soul, heartbreak, and timeless melodies. This is where Ken Boothe chose to live his life away from noise. Today, we're stepping inside his Kingston home to explore the space, the assets, and the understated lifestyle of a true music icon. But before the house, the wealth, and the quiet choices, let's rewind to the career that made this life possible. Born March 22, 1948, in the working-class community of Denham Town, Kingston, Ken Boothe grew up surrounded by music long before fame found him. His home was modest, but sound filled every corner. His mother sang gospel. His older sister, Hyacinth Clover, was already a respected vocalist. And the radio carried voices from across the Atlantic: Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, The Temptations, Mahalia Jackson, that quietly shaped his ear. At 8 years old, Boothe won his first singing competition. That moment mattered. In Jamaica, talent could change a life, but only if discipline followed. As a teenager, he performed on local sound systems, sharpened his phrasing, and absorbed the emotional delivery that would later define his career. By his early teens, he was already recording songs for small producers, learning the business from the inside out. His real break came in 1963, when neighbor Stranger Cole introduced him to legendary producer Duke Reid. The duo Stranger and Ken was born, releasing early hits like Hush Baby and the classic Artie Bella. These records landed just as Jamaican music was shifting from ska toward the smoother, more emotional Rocksteady sound, and Boothe's voice fit it perfectly. By 1966, he stepped out on his own, signing with Studio One under producer Clement Coxon Dodd. This era defined him. Songs like The Train Is Coming, Lonely Teardrops, and You're No Good showcased a singer who could blend American soul with Jamaican rhythm effortlessly. Dodd branded him Mr. Rocksteady, and the title stuck. His debut album Mr. Rocksteady confirmed it. Boothe wasn't just popular, he was essential. The 1970s brought global recognition. After moving between top Jamaican producers, Boothe struck gold in 1974 with a reggae cover of Everything I Own. The song topped the UK singles chart, making him one of the few Jamaican artists of the era to cross fully into the British mainstream. Albums like Freedom Street, Boothe Unlimited, and Black Gold and Green followed, cementing his international reputation. While trends changed, Boothe didn't chase them. Through the 1980s, 1990s, and beyond, he continued recording, performing selectively, and preserving a vocal style rooted in emotion rather than volume. In 2003, Jamaica honored him with the Order of Distinction, recognizing decades of cultural impact. Even in later years, despite health challenges, he remained active, recording, collaborating, and protecting the legacy he built song by song. And with that lifelong body of work established, the next question becomes clear: how did a voice this enduring translate into lasting financial stability? Income and net worth. After decades in the music industry, Ken Boothe has never been known for flashy excess or tabloid-sized fortune. Instead, his estimated net worth, commonly placed between $4 and $5 million USD, reflects a career built on consistency, longevity, and cultural impact rather than commercial hype. Live performances and touring remain the backbone of Boothe's income. For more than 50 years, he has toured steadily across Europe, North America, Japan, Canada, and the Caribbean, performing at festivals, theaters, and heritage reggae events. Even into 2025-2026, selective appearances continue to generate reliable earnings. Unlike younger artists chasing viral moments, Boothe's value lies in trust. Promoters know exactly what audiences will get: timeless songs delivered with soul and authority. Music royalties and streaming form another crucial pillar. His catalog includes evergreen classics like Everything I Own, Crying Over You, Freedom Street, and The Train Is Coming. These songs remain staples on reggae radio, playlists, and compilation albums. Everything I Own, which famously topped the UK charts in 1974, has been reintroduced to new generations through covers, including a high-profile version by Boy George, keeping royalties flowing decades later. Album sales, both physical and digital, also add to his long-term income. Boothe has released more than 20 albums, spanning ska, rocksteady, reggae, and gospel. While early contracts in the 1960s and 1970s were not always artist-friendly by modern standards, reissues, anthologies, and international distribution have helped recover value over time. Finally, past recording and production agreements, with iconic producers like Coxsone Dodd, Leslie Kong, and Lloyd Charmers, laid the financial foundation of his career. Though not all deals were lucrative, they positioned Boothe as a global voice of Jamaican soul. And having earned his living with dignity rather than excess, the next chapter of his story focuses not on profit, but on purpose. Philanthropy. Rather than positioning himself as a celebrity benefactor, Boothe has consistently aligned with trusted charities and grassroots organizations, allowing his contributions to flow where they are needed most. Among the causes closest to him is Food for the Poor Jamaica, the country's largest humanitarian organization. Founded in 1982, the charity focuses on poverty alleviation through food distribution, housing projects, medical assistance, education supplies, and agricultural support. Boothe's involvement reflects his understanding of everyday hardship in communities like Denham Town, where food insecurity and limited resources remain pressing realities. He has also supported Mustard Seed Communities, a Kingston-based organization established in 1978 that provides lifelong care for abandoned, disabled, and vulnerable children. The mission, protecting those who cannot protect themselves, resonates strongly with Boothe's long-standing belief that music, like charity, must serve humanity rather than ego. On the international front, Boothe has been associated with initiatives backed by American Friends of Jamaica, AFJ, a US-based nonprofit that channels funding into Jamaican education, healthcare, economic development, and disaster relief. Through AFJ-supported programs, resources reach schools, clinics, and recovery efforts following hurricanes and other natural disasters, events that have repeatedly tested the resilience of the island. Boothe has also lent his name and presence to causes supported by the Sandals Foundation, the philanthropic arm of Sandals Resorts. The foundation focuses on education access, community development, environmental sustainability, and emergency response throughout Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. For Boothe, these partnerships are less about branding and more about strengthening the social fabric that nurtured him long before international fame arrived. Ken Boothe's legacy is not defined by how loudly he gave, but by how consistently he showed up. And behind that steady generosity stands a personal life rooted in loyalty, family, and shared history, something that deserves its own chapter. Personal life. For nearly 3 decades, he has been married to his wife Joan Boothe, affectionately known as Doolin by family and close friends. Their story stretches back far before chart success or overseas tours, back to Denham Town, West Kingston, where both grew up surrounded by close-knit community ties and shared values. Boothe first met Doolin when he was around 17 years old in the mid-1960s, long before the world would call him the king of Rocksteady. In later interviews, he has spoken about coming from a musical household and building a family alongside his career, never seeing the two as separate paths. While music took him across continents, home always remained his emotional anchor. Together, Ken and Doolin raised 5 children, and today they are also grandparents. In a May 2025 feature by the Jamaica Observer, Boothe publicly honored his wife during a Mother's Day performance in Florida. On stage, he described Doolin as a steadfast pillar, acknowledging not only her love but her patience during the long stretches of touring, recording, and the health challenges he has faced in later years. He spoke candidly about marriage, not as perfection, but as commitment, joking that disagreements were inevitable, yet respect and faith always carried them through. In an era where celebrity often overshadows substance, Ken Boothe's private life tells a different story, one of constancy, spiritual grounding, and generational continuity. And it is within that calm, family-centered world that his Kingston home takes on deeper meaning, not just as a residence, but as a sanctuary shaped by decades of music, marriage, and memory. House in Kingston, Jamaica. Tucked away from the noise of central Kingston, the private residence of Ken Boothe feels less like a celebrity mansion and more like a carefully protected sanctuary. The house itself spans roughly 5,000 square feet, with 4 bedrooms, 3 full bathrooms, 2 additional toilets, and a separate maid's quarters that keeps daily life running smoothly without disturbing the calm of the main living spaces. The layout is practical, spacious, and intentionally understated, comfortable rather than flashy. Every room feels designed for use, not display. What sets the property apart is how it blends lifestyle with wellness. A private gym allows Boothe to maintain strength and mobility at home, while a mini movie theater offers quiet entertainment away from crowds. Outside, a full-size swimming pool, approximately 2.7 meters deep, sits surrounded by mature greenery, providing both exercise and solitude. It's the kind of pool meant for early mornings and late afternoons, not parties. The estate stretches across approximately 139 acres, with the land divided into 2 adjoining plots, roughly 0.8 acres, sold jointly, giving the home a rare sense of breathing room in the city. The surrounding grounds are nothing short of remarkable. More than 150 plant species fill the landscape, arranged not for symmetry but for flow. Tall trees, flowering plants, shaded paths, and open pockets of light create a natural rhythm that feels closer to a private botanical garden than a suburban yard. 3 koi ponds sit quietly within the property, their gentle movement adding a layer of calm that can't be engineered, it has to be lived with. Birds, insects, and water sounds become part of the daily soundtrack. It's the kind of environment that slows time, ideal for an artist whose career was built on feeling as much as sound. This Kingston home reflects exactly who Ken Boothe is today: grounded, reflective, and selective. There's no excess for excess's sake. Instead, there is balance between comfort and nature, privacy and function, legacy and everyday life. It's a place designed not for headlines, but for longevity. If you enjoyed this deeper look beyond the stage, don't forget to like the video, share it with fellow music lovers, and subscribe for more stories that honor culture, history, and real lives behind the fame. Thank you for spending your time with us, for listening closely, and for continuing to walk with us from one remarkable story to the next.